Welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio. I'm your host, M.L.Ruscsak. I'm here with my special guest all the way from India. I'm going to let you say your name as we discussed this a few seconds ago because I'm going to butcher it otherwise.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Good, and yourself? Can you tell our audience your name real quick for me?
Oh, well, sure. My name is Kailash, Amesur.
See, this is why I don't say names very often. I am the queen of butchering names, but it's okay. So, you have two wonderful books out. Your current one is called The Stolen House. Truth is Stranger Than Fiction.
That's right.
Okay, what is that about?
Well, sure. Before that, I would like to thank you very much for inviting me on this global show and allow me to talk about my book. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Talking about The Stolen House, it's a fiction book. It's a book about a maverick cop who is very relentless to pursue, the truth. And while on his way, he was about to get promoted, he comes to a very strange case in his life, which is a stolen house of a lawyer. So this book is about, the house getting stolen, and it's about a lawyer and a cop. So.
Cool. Where did you come up with the idea for the book?
The plot was there in the mind for a very long time, but I never got time, to pen down these ideas. While I was on a business trip in Italy long back, and since there was an ample time, I thought of started writing there, and from that time I started writing, and till today I'm writing. So
cool.
I'm right here. And the success of Stolen House has, kept me on toes to keep more writing for the readers.
Okay, now your first book, though, after you leave your last job, that's more of a business book, an entrepreneurial book. What is that?
That's a nonfiction book. It's about, leaving a job and starting your own business. It looks very easy and a cool idea, to give up a job and start up your own venture and starting up a business. Maybe the idea looks very cool and easy, but it's very challenging at the same time. So book takes down to a journey wherein when you leave your job and you start your own business, that's the journey about.
Being an entrepreneur myself, I can tell you it is never easy starting your own company. Never.
Right. It looks easy, I said, but it's very, very challenging.
Oh, I know. I didn't believe that until I did it myself.
Right. So a basic idea, like when you have worked, when you were a salaried person, maybe every morning you have to report someone. Maybe every morning you have to, show your face to someone and do that given to you. Maybe you're bounded with the time. Maybe there was a time challenging job for you. You paid for everything. So once you become an entrepreneur, you arrange for your own travels, you for your own mobile bills, you arrange for everything.
Exactly.
So the idea looks good, but it's very challenging.
It is. I mean, on paper, everything looks great. When you get rid of the paper and everything, it's like, what did I do? Am I crazy? And then you get into it, and everything starts growing, and then you're like, you just love what you do. Otherwise, why are you doing it, right?
Right.
So, what are you working on for your next book?
Currently I'm working on the series of The Stolen House. So that's going to be Stolen House 2.
Okay.
A series of the same mystery, putting it ahead to whatever the characters are left now.
So do we have a possible when that one's going to be released?
I'm sorry.
Do you know when that one's going to be out?
It's going to take some time, because of the current situation, what we are facing right now. It's globally. So
Yeah.
there's ample of time to write, but editing and the other publication challenges are really big ones.
Oh, I'm here in the U.S. I'm seeing the opposite, actually, because like we said, you're over in India. I'm over here in the U.S., so this is a global show today. But publishing
Right.
in the U.S. during this pandemic is a lot easier than it is normally. It makes completely opposite sense.
So I'll tell you, one of the books in between I have already written. It is in editing, which is a nonfiction again.
Okay.
The name of the book is The Men on DV, Domestic Violence. That's the other side of story. So we have heard a lot about women going through domestic violence and what they face. But what happens when a man is...
We don't hear about the men.
Right. We don't hear about the man, but eventually if you look like 10 years from now, if you look back 10 years, there were no domestic violence cases filed against men. So this 5 or 10 years, it's been the ratio has been going very, very high. Most of them are fake cases,
Yes.
just to get rid of the marriage. So what are the challenges when you file a fake case? So the book is about that, and because of the epidemic situation, it's under editing. And since in our country, there's a lockdown follow-up. None of the states have been spared off. So till that time, so most of the non-essential services have been stopped.
Right. Yeah, it's we never okay, in the States we rarely hear anything about men and domestic violence on their side, or they're the problem, or not the problem, but the one woman is a problem. We hear a lot of fake cases of women claiming domestic violence just to get vendetta on their ex, I guess. I don't
Right.
know.
Right. So basically the book is about the journey, the kind of humiliation a man goes because of these fake cases. Everything, right from his dignity, and everything goes off because of just one fake case. So it could be domestic violence, it could be rape, it could be anything.
Right.
So that's the journey of that book. And I'm hoping once the lockdown is over, we'll soon publish this.
That's going to be awesome. I mean, we need more books like that calls for social equality in the world. We really do need these books. So.
Well, I personally love to, write only fiction. But at some time, it's an urge for, to write non-fiction from time to time. So nowadays I see a lot of people writing about COVID-19. It is good. People writing about COVID-19 after this epidemic situation. The future should know what exactly has happened.
Yeah. I have a book that we're doing right now. It's me and two other authors.
Oh wow, that's really nice to hear.
Yeah,
nice.
We're doing a journal we're going to change a few names and places and things like this, make it really ready for publishing. But we started writing a journal during this pandemic from I think February, and from there till now, our personal experience, our mindset, we're watching the news and we're going, oh my goodness, this can't be happening, to everything that's happened to now. I mean, there's parts in there that are fun and fluffy because we had a good day at whatever we're doing versus the news in stark contrast. It might not be a bestseller now, but in 10 years, people need to know this stuff.
Well, definitely, ma'am. At times I think as an author, since you are also an author, you just don't write for a bestseller, but non-fiction or something you just want people to know. This has happened, and Right. And I'm sure the what one which you're writing is going to be a bestseller because this situation is one of those situations which has made globally upside down.
Right.
No one could have imagined ever.
No, it's like the worst. It's a mix between Jumanji and Stephen King's The Strand. Like, seriously.
Right.
And we look at it from a fictional point of view, like, this can never happen in real life, and now we're living it. And we're like, everything's turned upside down, everything's disrupted, and it's not just the virus, it's the economical side of it as well.
Well, on my personal point of view, yes, it's in a world upside down and economical conditions going to be very, very bad. But again, at the same time, the biggest learning, which I think everyone has gone through in this, is we would need nature with technology, not just technology.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that is going to be coming out now that a year ago we wouldn't have thought of. But
Right.
From an entrepreneur side of it, it's a great time to see what other talents you may have to go into, okay, once everything opens up, I want to do this with my life. So that is a good thing. But that's neither here nor there. So, other than your books, what do you do for fun?
What keeps me, I'm sorry?
Other than writing your books, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? The major of the time is occupied in books. Apart from that, I would be glad to say that I'm the first person for to get as a speaker platform on any 8X, like the one is TEDx. Currently, the one coming up is any 8X. So, I've been honored to invited as a speaker to them. So maybe I was the first speaker on the NE8X platform once the lockdown is over.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about grooming new authors, upcoming authors, giving them ideas. I've seen people, they want to write books. It's been years they're just thinking about to write the books. But for some reasons, they, never wrote a single word.
Right.
They're pretty scared of, some are scared of writing, some are scared of publishing, some are scared of their own skills, but they just don't write.
Right. I tell authors this all the time. If you want to be an author, you have to actually physically write something. Your first draft.
So, that's the first step, yes.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who are not ready to take the first steps itself. And as an author, you understand there are so many challenges, but yes, once you start writing, you will overcome all the challenges.
Mm-hmm. You have to believe in yourself in order to have others believe in you.
Right.
And if you don't write, how are you ever going to be the author you want to be? It's a catch-22. I want to do this, but I'm too scared to do it. Well, then you're never going to get to the next step. Sit down and just write.
So the topic is about, how to groom them and how to make them work to start up their first book.
Right. And
so well prepared and, sorry.
No. So what is your first step to groom an author?
I think unless you get into the water, you cannot learn swimming. The first step will be start writing. If somebody is serious about taking writing as a career, this comes from a very famous author who once mentioned in his book, if you want to take writing as a career, the first thing is you need to have a discipline. Now, what he actually meant by discipline was you have to write every day. It could be just 2 pages. It could be just 1 page. But ensure that you write. Unless you don't start with that discipline, you will never reach. So obviously, we all need to have a deadline to write. But the most and the foremost important thing is to create a discipline in yourself. Like for me, I start my day at 5:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And I write till 7 or 7:30, whatever time. So because the time works for me, I can play at that time with my character. I can give shades to my character. That time may not work for someone else.
Right.
Someone else can write in the afternoon time, evening time, or night time, whatever time is suitable for you. But you just write it. It could be just 2 pages, and don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about fancy words. Eventually we all learn. Once you face those challenges, that is how you will start learning. So the basic idea will be to start writing. Pen down your thoughts. That's a basic thing one has to do.
Yeah, it's
and,
like for me, I write at nighttime because the house is still and quiet, and I don't worry about my grammar. I don't worry about anything. I just sit and let the ideas go to paper, and then I'll go back and fix it later.
That's correct. And again, when we segregate both into, two genres, fiction and non-fiction. So there are certain ways to write. I'm sure as an author, for a non-fiction writer, it may take a lot of time. It might take a year to write a book. It totally depends on what, for a fiction writer, to what kind of plot he wants to create, what kind of book, what kind of characters, because our author has to live every character. Author has to imagine every character, and that is how they can portray it. For fiction, I have seen the readers, they pick up one of the characters and they start living it. So you never know which character they might like. So every character has to be given a good, particular thing. You never know which character they like. They may wonder and they may imagine that character in themselves. For non-fiction, I think it's pretty easy, a little easy, not very easy, but a little easy for a non-fiction, wherein if you want, you can, write it in a month and publish. It could be that easy.
Right. The two genres, they're a little bit different, but depending on your mindset, one might be easier for you to write than the other. And this comes between authors. Some authors, like yourself, can write both. There's other ones that can only write one or the other. It's not in their mindset to write the other side.
Right. But again, in fiction, 90% of the time you could finish with a deadline of a month. But there are certain books like your book, you cannot finish it in a month. You're going to take more time unless you get over entirely on the situation. Maybe you're looking for that everything to get over and then you complete your book.
Right.
So yeah, that's totally depending on that.
So, where can our listeners find you?
Well, I have a website. That's authorkailash.com. My book page is on Facebook. That's facebook.com/authorkailash.com. And I'll tell you a very interesting thing, about which I found like a year or two back, which my actually friends found about me. So when you type any Google name for a very non-famous personality, like any name you type it on Google, the first name and last name, you can see multiple searches. And when you type my full name, Kailash Amesur, you can see all the 5 pages on my name because it's a very unique name.
Right.
There's no other person with that name.
Right. You have one of these names I've never seen before. You're unique in that perspective. I'm over here in the U.S. I don't see a lot of names from over in India, other than the few friends that I have over there. But at the same time, it stands out.
So basically, that's in my country as well.
Mhm.
I have a very unique name here also. There's no other name which could pop up on Google itself.
Well, that's always a good thing when you're trying to sell books, right? Have something so
That's right.
unique
That's
that
right. That
you
makes
can.
me stand out.
Yeah.
And apart from that, the books are available on all the channels online, right from Amazon, Flipkart, and everywhere.
There we go. See, you're just everywhere, and it's so great. And I'm gonna have to read The Stolen House because this one is just a little interesting to me. But something else caught my eye while I was going through your web page, and that's because you started your career as a production scheduler with leading production houses. What is that? What is a production scheduler?
That's my first job, where I started as a production scheduler. That's for TV shows.
Okay.
That's when there were a lot of TV shows started in India. And we had an opportunity where we had multiple channels. Earlier in here there was only one channel. Now we have so many.
Right.
So that was the time I started working, and my job was to coordinate with all the artists, make a schedule from the script. So based on the script, I used to make a schedule, which will be depending on the location and the availability of the artist.
Okay.
So the job involved me to read the entire script right from, the day it starts shooting till whatever it is written.
Yeah. Don't you find reading the scripts from beginning to end just some of them are so daunting, especially the romance dramas can be, or the pure fictional drama that just is based on real life, but it doesn't have a lot of action-y scenes in it. They're just, to me, very daunting to read. I mean, they make great stories and stuff, but they get daunting after a while.
So now, when you're talking about the job, so the interest doesn't matter there. The first thing is that because you're getting paid for it.
Right.
Well, yes. If it had been not my profession, I would not be able to read any of them, because when you talk about TV serial fiction, they have absolutely nothing to do with real life.
Right.
And the creativity, when you read it, you won't feel like seeing any of the web series or the serials.
Right. It's just, if it's not your job, you don't want to be the one.
I would have never done that. And since I've been reading so many books, I love to read more books. And any author is actually a reader first. I'm sure you have, read a lot of books, and you might have your own bookshelf. So I personally believe any author is a reader first, and reads a lot before writing anything.
Oh yes, I have about 200 books around me at any time. So.
Oh my God. That's good. And I feel the source of writing, maybe the idea and the plots and the characters are there, but the source of writing again is the books which gives us.
Right. Well, we're almost out of time, and I wanted to thank you so much for being on the show today. I love doing these international, worldwide calls or shows and everything, so thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you so much. And please be safe, be careful, be home, ma'am.
Yes, you too. That's one thing we want to promote.
Thank you.
Stay home, be safe, just relax. Read something. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.